What is up, everybody? DanDanTheFireman here, and I want to talk to you guys about the Custom Dynamics Magic Flex 2, and I'm going to review it, and I'm going to talk to you about the install. I'm going to talk to you about some of the issues I had. I'm going to talk to you about some of the things that I had to go through. It wasn't the easiest, but I am damn happy that I have it. This is also a sponsored video from Custom Dynamics. Aaron from over there sent me a ton of stuff. They sent me the rear 1157 ProBEAM red LED turn signals, a smart stabilizer for my bike because I needed it for the 2012 Sportster. They sent me some ground and engine, front rear wheel, lighting, LED lighting. I asked for amber lighting, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. And then they sent me wireless remotes for extra functionality. It's so badass. So special thank you to Custom Dynamics, special thank you to Aaron. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's go ahead and start talking about these LEDs. I'll do a review on the rear turn signals at a later date, but we're gonna talk about the Magic Flex 2 and how it all went. So the one thing that you might need to figure out is what tools you're gonna need. Now with me, I thought I had the tools, I thought I had everything needed, but there was some issues where I didn't have what I needed, so I went to the store. So I'm gonna try to help you out when it comes to getting all the stuff you need right away so you don't have to stop and go everywhere and find it. So what I found that helped out a lot is obviously you're gonna need some wire crimpers and you're gonna need some wire cutters because you're gonna have to do some cutting so you can have better cable management. It does come with a lot of wire zip ties, so you're not gonna need those, but I bought myself, and I've already had some laying around, some bigger ones. They come out with some pretty small ones in the package itself, but you're gonna definitely need some wire crimpers so you can cut the wires, wire cutters so you can cut the wires. You're gonna probably need a heat gun because it does come with a blue butt connection to where you can connect exposed wires together and heat shrink it, and that way they're connected. That is something that you might want to do. If you don't have that, a lighter will work, but be very careful around your bike if you're going to be doing that. Electrical tape is definitely going to help out if you're going to be soldering instead. So a soldering iron if you're going to do that instead, and electrical tape or heat shrink to protect the exposed wires from grounding themselves out. On top of that, you're going to need some patience because electrical work, you do not want to rush it, and we'll definitely be talking about some of the issues I had when it came to that. I want to tell you about how much time it took me. It took me a while. It took me quite a while. It took me a few days. And the reason why it took me a few days is because where I live, where I parked it, I live in an apartment complex, and I had my bike in my storage unit, so I had to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth to kind of figure out what's going on. If you have all the tools right away, you don't have to travel to the store, which I had to do. So if you have all the tools prepped and prepared, and you just take your time and and patience with instructions, and maybe even call customer service, it should not take you more than a couple hours. It took me a couple days though. That was my own fault. Finding out where you want to put the LEDs, finding out locations and all that stuff is really going to help out, and we'll talk about that really soon. So let's go ahead and talk about the install. The install is very daunting. It's very scary to really think about. I mean, you're working with electrical stuff. So obviously you're gonna wanna disconnect your battery, disconnect everything so you don't shock yourself, ground something out, mess up your bike electrical wise, anywhere else if you're doing all this stuff. So definitely take the battery out of your bike and just start working on it that way. So you need to find the LED locations. When you get the kit, it's gonna tell you where to put the LEDs. So you're gonna have the rear wheel and front wheel. Obviously you're gonna put those in the rear and front wheel. You're gonna have underglow for under the bike, under the tank. But I messed around with it a little bit. I moved things around, and I did mostly what they want you to do, but with what I had, I decided to change it up a little bit, and I like what I did. And we're gonna go ahead and watch something right here. We're gonna watch right here. All finished. We have the rear wheel LED, and then I have an underglow right there next to the saddlebags. On this side, have an under tank glow. Got an LED strip, and then we got obviously the underglow. We have two of them. I decided to put one right here in the front. I could always change that later. They gave you extra 3M tape, and then I got the tire glow right here. It's actually really cool. Finally got it working. Had to call customer service. Perfectly fine though. They were quick, troubleshooting with me. Now we got the remote control. So we could do strobe, quick strobe, quick strobe, no strobe. And I think if you hold it, let's see, makes it breathe. So it's breathing. That's pretty cool. So let's turn that off. I don't like the strobe. It's gonna give me a freaking seizure. Stop. Stop it. This changes the dim and the brightness of the left side. So it's getting dimmer, dimmer, bright. The bottom right here, I know it's hard for you to, hard for it to focus to turn it off. Okay, there you go. Top left is on, and then the different functions. It's really cool. It's gonna make me a lot safer while I'm riding. So now that you saw what it looks like, we're gonna keep talking about the install. So trying to route the wires safely is very important. You do not want to route the wires to where it's gonna be wrapping around a wheel or it's gonna go around a moving part. Because for one, once you start riding, it's gonna rip out your LEDs, or two, when you start riding, it's gonna rip out your LEDs, rip out electrical, mess up your bike. So definitely route the wires in a way to where it's not gonna mess with the motorcycle's function. And that should be self-explanatory, but you have to be 100% aware of where you're putting these wires while you're doing it. So now you got all your spots, you got all the locations for the wires, you got all the locations for the LEDs that you want. You bring them all underneath the seat, you bring them all close to the battery and where you're gonna store all the stuff. Follow the instructions on how to put them all together, cut them, all that stuff. So you're gonna have to cut them short so you can, obviously make it to where it's manageable. But definitely follow the instructions when it comes to this part. I didn't have the instructions for some reason. I was able to find them, and I'll talk about that later. And it makes it so much easier when you have the instructions. If you have any problems, you could definitely call customer service for that part. Now, what I did was I troubleshooted a lot of the problems that I might have had was when I had the bikes or the bike battery still out of the bike, and I connected after all my soldering, after all my heat gun and connecting all these different wires because I had the shut off switch and I had the Blackmagic key fobs, so I had to install a little bit extra. So what I did was I was troubleshooting, making sure the lights worked without having to put the battery back in. So what I did was I connected all the terminals and everything with the battery off the bike, and I was able to do that because it would have been a lot harder trying to put everything together and then be like click, click, click. So I did it while I was off the bike. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the issues you might run into when installing these LEDs. Now, these are issues that I ran into, so that's the reason why I think that you might run into them, but I know a lot of you guys are a lot smarter and you're better at mechanical stuffs and electrical stuffs than I am. That's perfectly fine. That's awesome. I'm glad. Hopefully you don't run into these issues, but for anyone else, these are the things that I ran into. I lost the instructions. I legit lost the instructions, and I assumed that the package I got didn't come with instructions. So I was getting kind of pissed. This is why it took me a while. And I must have lost them. I got excited. I opened everything up and looked at the instructions, set them down, and I just had the packages. So I was trying to do everything based on the video that is on their website. So they have a video how to install the Magic Flex 2 on a bike. And there's a mechanic, he's installing it. He does this for Custom Dynamics all the time. So I had to watch it over and over and over and over and over again. And that was time consuming. And I do have some issues with the video, which is perfectly fine. I think it's a good constructive criticism, but you can tell he's a great mechanic. You can really tell he's a great mechanic. You can tell he knows what he's doing. It's like super simple, super easy. Why am I explaining this type of thing? That's not the vibe I got off him, but I can tell, since he knows what he's doing, he's like, okay, you should know this stuff. I didn't know it. I'm not a mechanic. I don't know anything electrical. So his explanation of what to do and how to do it wasn't very carried over well to me as a brand new person, which is perfectly fine. I learned from it though. I had to watch it over and over and over and over again. He also used equipment in the video that doesn't come with the packages. It doesn't come with what you have. So he had some 3M like stuff in a can instead of using the 3M primer sticks that you get in the package. So the 3M primer sticks, you're supposed to put your thumb on the black dot and break it like a glow stick and shake it up, and you get the primer at the end and you can apply it. So what he had was, like I said, like a bucket. He had like a small canister of it, and he used a felt pad with some tongs. It's a little bit different. I wish he used the the stick, the 3M primer stick that came with the package. That way he shows you, hey, this is what you're gonna get at home. But other than that, I was able to follow him along and I was able to put the bike together. But with him and the instructions, it was perfect. I'm glad they came out with a visual aid on their website. So definitely check both those out. I'll have links to all that stuff in the description. I'm gonna have a huge description of links, so please check them out. So what is my overall satisfaction with the product? Okay, so first of all, the installation and getting the lights was very intimidating. I was very scared of starting to do this and getting it going, and I actually, postponed quite a bit because I just didn't know what to do. Electrical, for some reason, freaks me out. I was able to change my clutch out, follow instructions, like I was able to follow a YouTube video for that, but electrical, for some reason, just really gets to me. So I think maybe some of you guys might have that same feel. But once I relaxed, I really thought it over and looked at the instructions, took my time, and it was actually very easy. It was very easy. All it is really finding the spot for the LEDs that you want, making sure that the LEDs will fit, route the wires along the body to where it's not interfering with the motorcycle's ability to function, and then connecting it. It was easy. I'm surprised I was that intimidated about that. So I believe that goes for all types of electrical work. The intimidation, you got all these crazy things you got to work with. You got to stick the LEDs to the bike. You got all these wires coming together. Hopefully it works. Maybe one wire shorts out, one wire doesn't short out. It's like a Christmas tree with the bulbs. Which one is it? That is kind of what I was going into, and it's a lot different than seeing your tire and say, when do I need a new tire? Well, the depth, it's easy to see. Is there cracks on the tire? Is there a hole in the tire? It's easy to see, but with electrical, there's just something to me that is just very intimidating. But once you kind of sit back and relax, it's easy. It's not that hard. I'm very glad that they sent me the remote. I'm very glad. I'm sad. That remote makes a huge difference. You can change the settings. You can change, everything. You can do everything. I'm gonna show you in the background what I'm doing. I'm changing things. You can get, strobe, make the strobe fast. You can make the bike breathe. There's a lot of cool stuff. But my one gripe that I have is that in the video, in the video that is on the website for the Magic Flex 2, is that he's installing the remote also, but he talks about putting the kill switch in between the battery and the remote and not just putting the remote in without a kill switch. And the reason why I said that is because the remote box, it's constantly drawing a small current. So because it's looking for the remotes, it's looking for the remote. So if you park the bike without the kill switch in between the battery and the remote, it can theoretically drain your battery. So he says what he does is he installs the kill switch between the battery and the remote so that when you get off the bike, you hit the kill switch, the little button that you get with the Magic Flex 2. That way it shuts power off to the whole system so you're not draining your battery. That is not in the instructions. That is not in the instructions for the remote or the Magic Flex 2. So you have to watch that video in order to get that tip. So that is my only gripe with the remote. Now let's go ahead and talk about the choice of color. Now, what color do you want? What color are you gonna get? I chose amber. The reason why I chose amber is that it is one of the most visible colors at night. And also on top of that is that I had to stick with my Arizona state law. Arizona state law says that anything in front of the rear wheel has to be amber or white light, cannot flash while you're riding, and behind the rear wheel can be red. So I have red ProBEAM lights from Custom Dynamics, which I will be doing a review later, and I'll be showing you guys the brightness and all that stuff, and I'll talk about that later. But I had to follow within Arizona state law. I will have a link in the description. It's neonlaws.com. You can check your state, see if you're able to get certain things, and it's really highly recommended to check that before you buy something like that, because you have to double check and make sure Underglow, neon Underglow, or anything like that is legal in your state or your country. So now for a little bit of extra stuff, a little extra tidbits. This was all stuff that came after the fact, after my install, and all these things are during the install, towards the end, and I messed up big time. I messed up right at the end of the install, and I had everything hooked up, and it wouldn't work. It would work, and all of a sudden it stopped working. I blew a fuse. This. It was such a pain in the ass. And so I finally decided, because of the Discord was like, hey, go go ahead and ask them is that I finally called customer service. I called customer service and they were amazing. They were amazing. I talked to somebody right away.
Please stay on the line, and a customer service representative will be right with you.
Custom Dynamics, this is how can I help you?
Yes, I'm finishing up my install of the Magic Flex 2, and it was working. I went to put on the seat, and then I turned it back on to double check, make sure everything's working again, and now I can't get it to turn on. No blown fuses, nothing like that. I just don't know what's going on. I think it might be the Bluetooth remote. I'm unsure though. And I gave them my issue. They found my item number and everything. They said, okay, we're gonna give all this information to a mechanic or a technician, and they're gonna call you back. Is this a good number? I said, yes, this is a good number. So I set the phone down, and I'm just like sitting there trying to think, like, man, what's going on? And guess what? I got a call back from a tech.
Hey, Daniel, this is Custom Dynamics. How you doing today?
Doing good. Just trying to figure this out.
Sure. It sounds like you've installed some Magic Flex 2 lights with a BM Remote 4. Hooked them up. Everything's working fine. Put the seat back on, and now they want to turn on. Is that right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Basically, what's happening is the BM Remote 4 that's constantly sending out 12 volts.
Uh-huh.
And when you hit the button, the on button, it's actually making the connection through ground. So when we're taking them out, we're going to go ahead and go directly to ground, and those LEDs should illuminate.
So attached to the ones that are disconnected to a ground, or just one of them? Or
go ahead and take one of your key fobs, press the on button, which is the top left button. Press it and hold it in. The indicator that's on that key fob, does it flicker at all?
1 second. No, it stays solid.
Good. And try the other key fob too.
So nothing. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yep, that solved it. So I'm guessing my ground is not a good spot.
Gotcha. Yep. That's what it sounds like. Go ahead and hold it there, and just, if you would, can you go through all the functions with both key fobs? I just want to make sure it operates properly.
Yep, it works good.
Perfect. Yep. So definitely the recommended spot is going to be on the negative terminal of your battery.
Sounds good. I'll go ahead and try that out, and if that doesn't work, I'll give you a call back. But it seems like I figured out the problem, or you figured out the problem.
Perfect, man. That's cool. Yeah. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll get you taken care of.
Will do. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
You too.
Thanks. Bye.
We troubleshooted. We figured it out. So basically what it was is I had a bad ground. So what I did is I put the grounding wire to the negative terminal, and we figured it all out. It was great. I will pop up the email list or the email chain that they sent each other, and then I got afterwards. So it's great customer service. It is huge. It's a huge customer service. And to jump into the customer service part, I just have to give hats off to Custom Dynamics first. Great customer service. American made, American owned. It was amazing. Very quick, very thorough. But on top of that, Aaron from Custom Dynamics, the person that sent me these LEDs, that sent me these things, she sent me these beginning of August, and I told them I was going to do these videos, I was going to do the review. As you can tell, we're in September, and the reason why I haven't done anything and didn't do anything in August is because if you're part of my Discord or Patreon, you'll understand that my grandmother passed away last month, and it was kind of a tough thing, and I had to delay some things, and I finally emailed her towards the end of the month and said, I'm sorry, I haven't made a review yet, or I haven't installed these yet. And she said, that's fine, take your time, do not worry about the videos. I'd rather have good videos than you trying to rush it to make a deadline or anything like that. Keep your family in your thoughts. To me, that is part of this review, because that is part of what happened to me, and it is amazing. Okay, that is the customer service is 100% of why I stay with companies. The product can be okay, but customer service is 100% why I stick with companies. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna stick with Custom Dynamics because of their customer service. It was insane what they helped me out on, and it was great with what I was able to communicate with Aaron from Custom Dynamics. On top of that, Aaron said that they would sponsor my Patreon giveaway for August. Now what that is that every month for my patrons, if you do $1, that's one name in the hat. So if you do $20, 20 names in the hat, $100, 100 names in the hat. So Ty, he actually won, and Custom Dynamics said they wanted to sponsor August. So when Ty won, guess what he got? He got some ProBEAM LED turn signals, and he's getting them straight from Custom Dynamics for his bike. That is awesome. That is an over $100 value that they decided they wanted to do for me. So customer service, top notch. So guys, if you have any questions, if you have any trouble installing these LEDs, please join the Discord. I have a link in the description. Check all the links, but it's very easy to find me there. Or go to patreon.com/DanDanTheFireman. That way I can comment and talk with you. You can message me. I can give you a better idea of how to join the Discord, and we can work this out together. I had trouble with it. I figured out what I needed to do right, and I can walk you through it if I have to. I'll also be doing a full review of the settings and the brightness and all these different things that came with the Blackmagic 4 remote. So this isn't the only review. This is just the review of what I had to deal with when it came to the install and having to put the lights on and the customer service. And this is basically a custom dynamics review, honestly. But I'm gonna be doing more. I'm gonna ride the bike down at night so you can see the difference in the brightness and all that stuff. So please stay tuned for that stuff on this channel. And please check out Custom Dynamics. Click the link. They have a lot of cool stuff. They have stuff for sport bikes, cruisers. They have Indian Scouts. They have really safe LED lights, very high quality, and the customer service is top notch. You would not find that from some Chinese company you found on Amazon where you buy these cheap LEDs, go into a problem, guess what? You're shit out of luck. But once again, thank you so much, Custom Dynamics, for sending these out to me. We're gonna get more and more videos rolling. Thank you for the understanding from last month. And thank you to my patrons and my Discord members for helping me out on the install. With that said, hope you guys ride safe, be safe, and you'll never ride alone.